Wendy Capewell, an experienced counsellor and psychotherapist. I work with so many people who feel that they're the only ones struggling with the issues that they share with me. Possibly, like many of you, they feel so alone. And so the aim of this podcast is to talk to guests who have their own stories to share, their experience of the struggles that they've been through, or maybe they're continuing to live with, offering their insights as well as their inspiring journey. So let me introduce my guest.
I've got a lovely lady with me today. Her name is Jennifer Schlueter. I had to practice that because I get some fascinating people with very exotic names, and I think names are important to pronounce correctly, but I think I've got it right, Jennifer. She is a hypnotherapist and soul mentor. I've done some training. I trained as a hypnotherapist as well as a counselor and psychotherapist. So I know how powerful hypnotherapy is. But Jennifer, tell us more about you.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you for having me and pronouncing my last name correctly. You did a great job at it. Okay, so I was born and raised in Germany until I was 19, and then I just packed my bags and went to LA and moved there because I wasn't the person that had a very close family and great family structure and great family environment. So it was easy for me to just pack up and go. And then I studied in LA, and I actually, instead of studying for my finals, I went to a party and met my boss. That's a great story. I love it. And he was like, "Hey, Jenny, do you want to bring up 6 new newspapers from the ground?" And I was like, "Sure. If you show me how to do it, I'll do it. I want to stay in the country. This sounds like an amazing opportunity. I'll do it." And I ended up managing all of the 22 newspapers that were in his company. And it was a great job. It was a great opportunity, and I do not regret it at all. However, after 2 years, I felt like, okay, there's something missing in my life. I'm not fulfilled. I ended up going drinking a lot on the weekends, and there was a situation that happened where I was like, okay, this is enough. Something is off here, and I need to do something. And my friend suggested to go to a hypnotherapist, and that's what I did. And I remember the first session, I quit my job and traveled the world after. Like 6 months later, I was out, but I had made the decision after this very first session. So hypnosis was super, super powerful for me. And as I was traveling, I received more sessions from someone, and she helped me with my money mindset and really fixing the relationship with my mom and finding out why I was dating terrible people and so many other things, right? And I was like, wow, hypnosis is so powerful. And I want to help people. I want to make people's lives better. And I'm all about love, like loving yourself so that you can love others more, and so that you can bring more love into the world by doing what you love as well. So that's really important for me. And I think hypnosis does a great job at that.
Wow. Well, that was a very condensed version of your life. But I want to ask you more about that because you said that you were attracting the wrong people, you're getting into the wrong relationships, mixing with the wrong crowds. And what was that like, that kind of life? Because managing 22 newspapers, but at the same time you were getting into so you had quite a high-powered job, quite a responsible job. But there was another side to it about your relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I went to LA, I was very fascinated by gang culture, and I was always intrigued by people who I guess they kind of had the same upbringing as me, because they never had or they also had like they didn't have a family structure. They had messed up families and all of that, but worse than me. And I was kind of attracted to fixing them, to helping them. And I picked it because also it was my comfort zone. My comfort zone was drama, fighting, arguing, nothing stable, no stable love. I didn't understand love. I didn't know what it was.
No.
So that's why I was, and I say that I was attracting these kind of people. I consciously chose to attract these people.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I put myself into these situations, and also with like alcoholics and people who had guns, and I don't even know, like, I don't want to know, frankly, to be honest, what all of them did, like, for real.
Okay.
But and I'm glad I never found out, but it was definitely my comfort zone because I didn't know
Yeah.
any better. I didn't know anything else.
No. Well, it's what you knew, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
very familiar to you. So
Yeah.
if you grew up in that background, so yes, you're going to be attracted to similar kind of thing, and the drama, because that's what you knew. So I mean, gangs and drugs and that kind of life, it's very full of drama, isn't it? So yeah, it's understandable why you were attracted to that, but equally quite scary, I should imagine, at times, living on the edge a little bit, if you know that.
Yeah, I was definitely in a few situations that I had a lot of guardian angels.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so then you decided that, okay, that your friend suggested you had a hypnotherapy session. What led you to that? Because you don't just sit over coffee with a friend and go, hey, why don't you have a hypnotherapy session? That sounds like a good idea. It's not the same as going, why don't you go to the nail bar, is it?
Exactly. So there was a specific situation that happened with at that time I was not dating people anymore who were like gang members and alcoholics and cheaters and liars, but I was dating people who were emotionally and physically unavailable. And I was a lot in the dating scene, and I went out a lot of the times, and I drank a lot. So that night, when whatever happened, was a night where it ended up being the best night in her life for one of my girlfriends, because she has met her partner that she's still with him after like 7 years.
Wow.
And his friend ended up being the worst of the worst for me. So it was the worst night for me. I'm not going to go into detail here because
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. But that situation was when I said, something needs to change. I need to go away from the alcohol for a little bit. I need to change something because I don't feel fulfilled, and I feel like I'm throwing myself into these situations to create some kind of outlet. So I need to change something, and I need to go to therapy. And I brought it up in front of my friend, and she said, Jenny, why don't you go to my hypnotherapist? And I trusted this friend because she had also recommended The Secret to me, the book.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I don't know what this is, but I trust you, and I'm going.
Yeah. And so you had some kind of recommendation. It wasn't just cold, if just, well, yeah, it was something that you trusted your friend, and
Yeah.
she had done too. So yeah, so I do think it's an incredibly powerful tool. I mean, I don't use it standalone now. I did some training with it, but not any great depth. But I do integrate it quite often, or parts of it, within my, what I do. So yeah, it's but it went on from that, didn't it? Because that you obviously discovered how powerful it was, but you weren't going to go, okay, that's good. You decided you're going to train as well.
Absolutely, because it has helped me so much, and I just really loved facilitating it as well, because I know the power it has, not only when it comes to getting rid of a habit or something, or smoking, or nail biting or whatever, but really to finding yourself and to coming to terms with your past in a way that you don't regret it, or you don't have anything against it, but you actually use your past to empower you. You use the lessons to empower you. You use everything for good. And it also helps you to like manifest things that you want. And it's just like it's a tool that is so limitless. And then when you get into all the spiritual stuff, like where you can do channeling and past life regression and soul journeys, it's like, it's so exciting to me. And I have so many people say like, oh my God, wow, this feeling was amazing. And I remember my first feeling too, right? When I was doing the hypnosis. So it's really so powerful, and it's simple relaxation.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about soul journeys, because that's not something I'm very familiar with.
Mm-hmm. So when you do a past life regression, right? When you believe in past lives, you also believe that there needs to be a space in between these past lives, which is a soul, which is the soul space, which is the space where you choose every single life. And this is the belief that we are souls that incarnate into different bodies on different planets even. And so a soul journey is a part of hypnosis where you can actually take people to their soul, to why they've chosen this life, why they've chosen their parents, what their parents are teaching them, what you're teaching your parents. And so you can also meet soul family, which sometimes, you were your mom's mom in a past life, or, when you have a twin flame in this life, you can meet them in a past life. And so soul journeys are also very, very powerful.
Right. Yeah. So you go back into a previous life, you take someone back into their previous life. And then, as you say, that soul journey, that's interesting, the thought of being able to choose our future life. Quite a fascinating concept.
It is, yeah. And you can also see future lives, like which is also very fascinating. Yeah, so soul journeys, I think, are some of the most powerful tools when it comes to hypnotherapy as well.
Yeah. Gosh, so now you work with all kinds of people. I mean, do you work remotely? Do you work face to face? How do you work with people?
I work online mainly, and whenever I'm in a country, because I travel a lot, so I sometimes give workshops, so breathwork or hypnosis or manifestation workshops, but I usually work online. But when I go back now to Johannesburg, I'm planning on having like set workshops every other week.
Okay.
And really giving that money that I earned there to a charity or to people in need, just because that feels like the right thing to do right now.
Yeah.
From the live workshops. And then when everyone is paying me online anyway, then I can definitely do that.
Wow. So that sounds really interesting, because there's a whole mix. You can work with people individually, as you said, in groups and in workshops. So
yeah,
interesting. I think the whole world has changed, hasn't it? Certainly since the pandemic. I mean, so much has gone online now, where people would have been more reticent to kind of try that. I mean, you and I would not have met probably. And I was working on Zoom before the pandemic, and I was interviewing people before the pandemic on Zoom. But I just feel that now remotely, more and more people are doing it. So it's really interesting, isn't it, that we can do that? And I think more people are open. Our clients are more open to using remote kind of facilities. And it's more convenient, isn't it? Because you say you can work anywhere across the world, and you can, people find it more convenient. They can pop, rather than traveling to see you or me, then it cuts down on that, doesn't it? So there's all of those benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. And people get to do it in the comfort of their own home, which is great.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, at the same time, I do believe that now people are craving connection a lot, like face to face. Not necessarily, I guess, because with us, okay, it's fine. Like your therapist, you can definitely see them online, but like real life experiences.
Absolutely. And I find that an interesting one as well, because what I noticed was that you said that you, before all of this, during your kind of journey, you were meeting people or having dates or connections with people who are unavailable. And I think that's an interesting part, that wanting that connection, but actually choosing someone who you can't have that connection with. And I guess that's a part of your story as well. and discovering what was going on for you. Because I guess if you came from a traumatic childhood, your caregivers wouldn't have been available. So it would have been, let's keep you at arm's length. It's safer.
Yeah, that was it. And then I realized also in a session that the only person that was available for me to love and to be loved by, which in a way that I understood it, was my grandmother. My parents did love me. However, I didn't understand that they did because they had a different love language that I didn't understand. So my mom, she would always she would gift things, and I would ask her, I was like, Mom, please spend more time with us. Like, don't be working all the time. Just be at home. Like, I don't want the gifts. I don't care for that. And so I never felt loved.
Yeah.
Which thankfully, I read the 5 love languages, and then I was like, oh my God. And so yeah, the only person that was available for me was my grandmother.
A fascinating story. I really found, I hope the listeners find it fascinating as I have. What is one thing you could suggest that people could take with them away, right now, maybe a tip or...
So I always love to tell people, the more you take time for yourself in a quiet space, whether that's relaxation with hypnosis, with meditation, with just nothing, or doing something that you love, the better of a person you become. You don't need, as a hypnotherapist, you don't need a counselor necessarily. If you want to, of course you can have it, right? But if you feel like you want to do it on your own, or you feel the need to go within by yourself, then you have the power within you. And the more often you relax and the more often you find a quiet space for yourself, the more you're going to thrive.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. It is stopping and just being at times and allowing. Yeah, they're very powerful, that. Thank you so much for being a guest today. I will put your details, your contact details in the show notes, but what's one easy way that people can get in touch with you, Jennifer?
You can definitely find me on Instagram and send me a message. Super easy. Or Facebook.
Okay, thank you again so much for being a guest. Yeah, that's been brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you found this episode interesting as well as helpful. Do get in touch if you would like to learn more about working with me. My email address is info@wendycapewell.co.uk. Take good care of yourself. Until next time.